Explorers, Kid Explorer here, and today I'm here to give you some Mexico travel tips, specifically around travel to Valle de Guadalupe, which is the wine region in Mexico. It is in the Baja California state, which is in that strip along the west coast of Mexico, which it borders California and the United States. So I'm going to give you a few tips about travel to that region and how to get there. So make sure you stay all the way to the end so you can be fully prepared for your upcoming trip to Valle de Guadalupe, Mexico. And before we do, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It is free for you to do so, and it helps me provide more and better content to you in the future. Now let's get into this Mexico travel tips video. All right, so first of all, let's talk about entry from California into Mexico. So California, USA borders Tijuana, Mexico. There is a huge border crossing there called San Isidro border. So I ended up taking a flight to San Diego, which was the best option for me coming from Atlanta. You can try to also fly to Tijuana if that is an easily accessible airport for you. Ended up taking an Uber to the border crossing. Once I got to as far as the Uber could take me, I got out of the car and walked past a McDonald's. You'll have a McDonald's on your left-hand side, and you're going to walk right past it. And when you walk past it, you're going to follow that train line down, and you will see the entrance to the pedestrian walkway. There is an east and west walkway. It doesn't really matter. There's only one walkway at the San Isidro border that takes you into Mexico and one walkway that takes you back into the United States. The walkway took maybe 10 minutes to walk through its entirety. I went at 10 a.m. on a Friday morning, so there was hardly anyone crossing the border, but maybe going during the morning rush, or especially on a Friday evening when people from San Diego can easily just cross over the border for a weekend, it might be busier. But you're just gonna keep on following that path until you get to Border Patrol. They're gonna check your passport, you're gonna go through security, and then you are now in Mexico. So bienvenido a Mexico. And once you get through, you're gonna see people selling some things, you're gonna see people asking if you want wheelchair services. If you are handicapped, obviously you have to pay, and they will take you to the end of the pedestrian walkway. Once you get to the end, you will see a huge Roma pharmacy, which is a great place to go, and if you need to get picked up from, it is a great landmark to use. There's also a cafe right next to it, which I ended up getting a cappuccino from, which was nice to sit and wait as my friends made their way to Roma Pharmacy. So that is how you cross into Mexico. On the way back, you'll still take the San Isidro border if you're crossing back into the United States. If you do not have global entry or nexus, you need to allow time to cross. There's actually a website where you can check the border crossing times into the United States via car or pedestrian walking. But it could take time. When I got there, when I pulled up, or when the Uber pulled up to drop me off, I was like, what the? Line was crazy. It was so long. It had to be a 2 to 3 hour wait. I didn't even check the time because I had my global entry card. You have to have the global entry card to get through and go through global entry, or the Nexus card to get through and go through the process. I showed my card to US Border Patrol, and I just kept on walking. I got up to the booth. They scanned my card. I took a picture. They said, "Welcome back to the United States." And I entered the US. It took me all of 5 minutes to get through with global entry, or if you had Nexus, or Sentry. Sentry's the other one. So you definitely need time if you do not have an expedited security program to re-enter the United States through land crossing. Now let's talk about transit to Valle de Guadalupe. So the closest airport to Valle de Guadalupe is Tijuana. It is about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from the valley, depending on traffic. So if you do fly into Tijuana, you can always hire a private driver to take you to Valle de Guadalupe. There's also tours. I am not familiar with the tours, but I have heard of tours that take you from San Diego to Valle de Guadalupe, or a tour that might pick you up from Tijuana Airport. I do not have the specifics on that, so do your research there. Do your research. You definitely can do that. Also, if you fly into Tijuana, you can always rent a car and drive yourself. It is the Pacific Highway coast that goes all the way up through California. It continues into Mexico. I believe it's the Mexico 1D highway, and that will take you pretty much all the way there until you get closer to the Valle de Guadalupe, where you have to get off onto side roads. You could also be taking a cruise, which may drop you off in Ensenada. And again, you could possibly look up for different tours of that nature to get you there, or hire a private driver. Next up, let's talk about these roads in Valle de Guadalupe. The roads there are completely dirt roads. And the day we went, it was right after a big rainstorm, so it made the roads even worse than usual. You need to make sure if you rent a car, you have a car that can get through those ditches and up those dirt roads. We had a little Kia and it was a struggle for us, y'all. So you want to make sure you have an appropriate vehicle to get through those dirt roads. And if you have back problems or hip problems or something, this might not be the place for you, or you may need, a little bit of extra support to get you through those dirt roads for your back or hip or whatever it is. Now, once you're in Valle de Guadalupe, you want to make sure you hire a private driver to get you around to all of the wineries. There is no such thing as ride sharing. So no Uber, no Lyft, or no other ride sharing service exists in Valle de Guadalupe. Therefore, you must hire a private driver. And from what someone who worked at the hotel in Ensenada told us, that police will wait for tourists to drive drunk in the region so they can ticket them. So you do not want to be one of those people. And plus, what fun is it to drink and drive? You want to enjoy your time and drink all the wine you want to drink and try while you're in Valle de Guadalupe. So make sure you hire that private driver. We had one. He took us around to 3 different wineries. He took us back to where we were staying, as well as to dinner. Now let's talk about the wineries. So while I was there, me and my friends went to 4 different wineries: La Reina, Lomita, Finca de Corradia, and El Cielo. All of those wineries, you must have a reservation. Now, yes, some days you may walk in and there's not really many people there, but there could be, especially El Cielo. We walked in there, it was pretty, light with the crowd, and when we left, it was packed. So you want to have that reservation so you can actually enjoy and have a proper wine tasting or tour of whatever you want to do once you get to that specific winery. So I really do want to talk about the wineries just briefly. So I went to 4 wineries, as I mentioned. So El Cielo, La Reina, Finca de Corradia, I don't know why I can't remember the name of that one, and Lomita. Out of those 4 wineries, absolutely loved El Cielo. I loved how it was set up. Their wines were amazing. I love that they had the wagon ride. Now, the second one I would have to say was Lomita. I love the artwork and decor inside of Lomita. They had an inside, they had an outside area, and they had a nice outside area where you could overlook the valley. Also, their wine was a free flowing system, which is different, which they explained a little bit while we were there. For how they make their wine, and their wine was pretty good as well. I actually bought 2 bottles of their wine to bring back home with me, so it was good if I had to buy it. Okay. The third winery I would say I enjoyed out of the 4 is La Reina. La Reina, one thing, their wines were really good, and they had a chocolate tasting, so that was nice to be able to pair the chocolates with the wine. But what I didn't like is that the wine tasting had to be done at the bar. You couldn't go sit outside or sit at the tables. You had to do it at the bar, which is kind of messes up the vibe a little bit at the bar. But the wines were pretty decent. And the last winery out of the 4 was Finca de Corradia. The people there were incredibly nice. The person who waited on us, she was very knowledgeable and told us about every single wine that she poured for us for our tastings. And they have a lot of environmentally or sustainable wines at their winery. I would not say their wines were the best. Enjoyable, but not the best. And they had a delicious charcuterie board, especially with the jalapeno cheese, which I had never had before, but it was incredible. So Yeah, I wouldn't say not go there, but it was definitely my least favorite out of the four. Now let's talk about where to stay. Now I know there's probably a lot of different options, maybe at the wineries or wherever to stay in Valle de Guadalupe. But from my experience, we stayed at a hacienda house. So I think it was called Hacienda San Jose. The hacienda was beautiful. It was so comfortable. The owner, her and her husband were amazing. Just felt so welcome. And since we have left, they have actually built a pool there. So I cannot imagine drinking wine, sitting in the pool, looking over the valley out of the hacienda. You could tell that the decoration was well done and well thought out while staying there. And plus, if you stay at the hacienda house, she actually has someone on site that can be your private driver that you will book through her. So now, where should you eat when visiting Valle de Guadalupe? So a lot of the places we looked up that I saw on YouTube or just through research were very expensive. Don't get me wrong, if you want to go there, go there. But if you don't want to break the bank while you're in Valle de Guadalupe, you definitely want to check out La Cocina de Doña Estela. It's a wonderful restaurant for breakfast, has a huge menu, and it's very affordable, and it is an award-winning kitchen. So you want to get there early. They don't take reservations. You want to get there maybe by 8 or 8:30 at the latest to make sure you can get in before the rush of people. Otherwise, you may have a wait. I don't know how long that wait may be. It's a pretty big restaurant, but still, if you don't want to have to wait like we did, we walked right in and got seated immediately. Also, there's this other restaurant that I cannot remember the name, so I'm gonna have to ask my friend, and we're gonna drop the name here once I find out from her. But we ate at this Mexican restaurant for dinner. It was a very affordable dinner, traditional Mexican food, nice ambiance outside. It was just a really great place to eat at, and definitely recommend eating there. Now I will have pictures or video from that restaurant because I was so hungry by the time we got there, and I've had plenty of wine because this was after going to 3 wineries that day. But it's definitely worth checking out. Now, the last thing I want to mention is when should you visit Valle de Guadalupe so you can have the best of your experience. Now, obviously, that just depends. It depends on your schedule, your availability, why you want to go, maybe for your birthday like I did. But there are some times you need to be aware of. So low season is winter and spring. So kind of like December through April is going to be their low season. And then their high season is going to be summer and fall. So you're looking, May through September, October timeframe. High season means things are going to be more expensive and there's going to be more tourists. Low season means it's not going to be as expensive and there's going to be less people there. We enjoyed that because we were able to walk in places, we were able to enjoy our space, and it made it nice that things were affordable. So that's just some things you could take into consideration. Obviously, you have to weigh that into your schedule, but that could help you in deciding on when you want to visit Valle de Guadalupe, Mexico. All right, explorers, so I hope you enjoyed me breaking down how to travel to Valle de Guadalupe, Mexico. So I talked about crossing the San Ysidro border crossing from the US to Mexico and back. I talked about how to get to Valle de Guadalupe, the road conditions, where to stay, where to eat, what time of the year to visit, and what you need to know about the wineries. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. It is free for you to do so, and it helps me provide more and better content to you in the future. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Make sure you share this video with your friends, family, and social media networks. And if you would love to support my small business further, you can hit the thanks button to give me a little tip, or you can check out my blog at KitaTheExplorer.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day or night wherever in the world you are. Bye.